Welcome back to another episode of Doing the Most. Sometimes in life, we got to evolve. It's all about evolution. Sometimes we got to adapt. We got to transform ourselves. We got to be able to just do what we can with what we have. You can't make excuses. You can't basically just go out there and say, yo, I can't do this because of that. No, sometimes you got to change. You got to come out your comfort zone. And that's in everything in life. So today we're evolving. We are not able to get to the studio, and I really wanted to drop an episode before game two's start. So every team has played this weekend. Game ones were all over the place. I'm sorry for the setup right now. I'm actually in the middle of trying to move. Like, we're in the process of moving. That's why I really haven't been uploading on my main channel. You guys probably noticed. And now this kind of might help because just in case we're not able to go to the studio anymore, there's a lot of issues going on in my life right now. I'm so stressed. And this kind of is what makes me less stressed, just being able to talk about basketball with you guys. So this is going to be a short episode. I'm just going to go over all the game one stuff, everything that happened. My hands are going to be moving all over the place. This basketball will stay here. It makes me comfortable. You might hear my dog in the background. He's chilling with me right now. But look, I'm not going to be talking numbers. This ain't about numbers. This ain't about any of that. This is about game ones and what we expect moving forward in every series because every team has played, we saw, and we're expecting things, right? We have expectations. How they're going to perform, how they're going to do is up to them. And that's why we're here to talk. So don't expect numbers. This isn't a statistical show. You can always look up numbers. You can see how every team did and all that. I don't even have no notes, nothing. I'll do this straight up off the dome. You feel me? So we'll start off with the first game on Saturday. First teams to play. My dog is drinking water. I hope you guys don't pick up every single noise because if you do, this is going to be a terrible episode. But I really do appreciate you guys, especially everyone that's been listening to us on Spotify, Apple, watching us on YouTube. It really is special. It makes me like really proud and genuinely just like ecstatic that I can do this and know that you guys are behind me 100%. This is just the beginning. I do expect NBA players on here. I told you guys this. It's happening. And Habibi, you guys want to meet my dog? Not now, but I got you guys at the end of the video. So if you guys stay tuned till the end, I got you. Speaking of dogs, Jimmy Buckets, Jimmy Butler. That is a team run by a bunch of dogs, man. Those guys got fight in them. They got heart. They got Iguodala there. Man, Duncan Robinson, straight up shooter. He killed that game one. And that was a really entertaining first game of the playoffs. First game of the playoffs. And it was sent to overtime by Jimmy Buckets. So we'll begin by saying Giannis, really bad free throw performance. He really shot so bad. I didn't expect, well, we expect him not to be able to shoot free throws well, but as a star or MVP, I told you guys he had to step up. And I got to figure out what's wrong with my dog right now. So just give me a second. I'll be right back. I apologize for that. But Giannis really was shooting really bad. But you got to keep him on the court, man. He does change the game. He had a lot of rebounds. He was doing his thing. But Chris Middleton, that's the guy that kept giving the ball when it mattered. Drew Holiday, we told you guys that point guard role is so like crucial in big games, right? It's crucial. We're going to talk about this for every series pretty much, how a point guard affects the game. And Drew Holiday had a big effect. He had a big bucket at the end off a rebound. And that game ended in a buzzer beater. Well, not really a buzzer beater, but it was a game winner. Chris Middleton, game winner. Wow, what a game. What a game. We know seeding doesn't matter a lot of the times, especially when you're talking about such great caliber players, right? When great teams, anything is possible. You could see stuff happen. There's upsets. And at the end of the day, they're not really upsets, right? So a game like that, where the series already starting off so hard, so fresh, you got to see how guys are going to counter, how they're going to come back from it. Dragic had a really good game from Miami Heat, and I just expect them to keep doing what they're doing on Giannis. He really didn't have a huge impact. He did, right? He did, but they're probably going to keep feeding him to the free throw line. Like they're going to keep trying to force him there. But I expect Miami to do better with Chris Middleton, and I'm just excited for that series. I think that series is going to be really entertaining. Now, that second game is one we were really anticipating, right? I told you guys the Clippers have a lot to prove. They got a lot of haters. They got a lot of beef for what happened, right? Just like jokes, right? Everyone was clowning them last year. And they're gonna get clowned again if they don't figure this out. Because Luca. We talked about the first overtime game plus first game winner by Middleton, but now we got to talk about the first triple double in the playoffs by Luka Doncic. Man, oh man, this dude was dissecting that team. He was figuring it out. The Clippers shot poorly. It wasn't on Kawhi like that, but their three-point shooting was atrocious. Morris couldn't hit a bucket to save his life. And they just couldn't stop Luka. Luka was doing whatever he wanted, more or less. Even if like it looks like he shot bad or anything, he was still able to control the game. And that's something that the Clippers need to figure out. They need to know when it's this person's time or that person's time to take over. And I'm surprised they really haven't figured that out till now. But that series is going to be interesting to see how the Clippers can bounce back if Dallas can keep this up. I told you guys when Dallas takes this home, their home crowd is going to be bumping. Their home crowd's got that everything going for them. Mark Cuban was able to put it together the same way the Knicks were with having like 15,000 fans there, which is ridiculous. We saw how MSG was. We're not up to that MSG game, though, which we have a lot to talk about. But let's go to the other team in New York, which was at the Barclays Center, the Brooklyn Nets going up against the Boston Celtics. And man, oh man, Tatum started off that game playing better than the big three for the Brooklyn Nets. And I almost said New Jersey. I'm not going to lie to you, but nah, seriously. So Tatum played well to start, but the Nets turned it up. They figured it out. They were able to hold him and they were able to do their thing. It's really hard to stop this Nets trio, and they still haven't even figured it out. If you give them time to figure it out, I think it's going to be really, really dangerous. So hopefully it never gets to that point for certain teams. Like every team doesn't want that to happen. I didn't expect the Celtics to really be in these games, right? I said they'd have to get them in the beginning, right? Because once the Nets figure out it's over. I think they're gonna get their legs going. And Tatum needs help. Marcus Smart tried. There was like guys trying, but this is the playoffs. Rotations are smaller, so every player is getting like 40 minutes now. There's 9-man rotations for most teams. Some teams playing 8 man. So it's win or go home, you know? It's win or go home. And the Celtics, I don't think they have enough. I'm curious to see if they can try to keep pushing, but it's going to be really, really hard. Now, the next series, I told people this was going to be a special series. People didn't believe me. But the Denver Nuggets, I'm wearing this for a reason. I'm not wearing this because of the Nuggets. It's because whose jersey this actually is. This is Carmelo Anthony, a former Nugget who now plays for the Portland Trail Blazers, and he had himself a ball game. Damian Lillard, they had no answer for him. It is so hard to guard a guy like Dame. It really is because when you think about it, like if you don't have another point guard on the other side, how are you gonna stop him? And the fact that Jamal Murray is out, Jokic can only do so much. Michael Porter Jr. had a pretty solid game. A lot of people were saying how he was going crazy. 25 points, all this and that, but he missed 9 shots that game and they were all threes. He was 1 for 10 from the 3-point line. Denver's needs to like slow down. They need to just control the game because when Portland's got it and they're controlling the tempo and Dame is doing his thing, you're not stopping that team. I told people this Portland team, they've been together, they've seen it all. The same way you could say the same about Denver last year, but without Jamal Murray, I could see this Portland team doing this night in, night out, and it's going to be tough. So I want to see how Michael Porter Jr. and that coaching staff they bounce back and they figure out how to stop Lillard because that's really going to be the key for Denver coming back in this. And Denver fans, y'all got to stop booing this man Carmelo. They were booing him from the start. And it really isn't Melo's fault. He wasn't like, you know what I mean? Like, y'all just gotta relax. It's been like 10 years. Y'all gotta relax. Now, that was our schedule for Saturday. That was all the games and all that. Sunday was really, really busy as well. We had the Philadelphia 76ers going up against the Wizards. And honestly, I didn't disappoint too. I don't think any game was a disappointment yet. Even if games weren't the closest going down to the wire, they were all pretty competitive throughout for the most part. For the most part. So this game, it had its moments. There were clowning moments with Beal, with Embiid. It was like, I don't know, Philly fans are something else, of course. You got that brotherhood going on, and they were just excited to be there. They're the number one seed in the East, and they got a lot of energy. They definitely do. I think the Wizards need to like figure out what they need to do because right now Russell had a bad game. Beal did his thing, but they're gonna need a lot more guys to figure it out because Joel was impossible to stop. They couldn't stop him at all. They really couldn't slow down like Seth Curry. And honestly, it was a lot of players for Philly that stepped up, right? Tobias had a huge game. They really let Embiid drop 30 and Tobias had like 36 or something. So like if they don't figure out how to slow those guys down, like the fact that Ben Simmons had a double-double without scoring 10 points, right? He could have had a triple-double tells me that the Sixers are going to get like, they're going to get contribution from Ben. They're going to play better. So the Wizards just need to figure it out because it's going to be really, really hard if you go down 2-0, 3-0. You give this Philly team some confidence. Next game, this game was really, really fun too. I thought this was going to be the game of the series, right? Like, I thought this was the series. This was a series to watch, and it still can be, right? It really can be. This is the Phoenix Suns versus the LA Lakers. Anything is possible. You had Chris Paul and LeBron, two of the smartest players in the league, like maybe ever, right? Two of the smartest old-time players. Obviously, I'm not saying they're the smartest, but the two of the smartest players to ever play the game, and on any level, any scale. And wow, they got into a little bit like Chris Paul got hurt a couple times. I'm glad he was good. I'm glad he was able to bounce back and play. They definitely needed him. Devin Booker's first game, literally first game in the playoffs. This man really had the most points without a playoff appearance. So I'm glad he got his playoff appearance. He played really, really well. Ayton outplayed Anthony Davis by a long shot. Like really, really smacked him around. It looked like Bro, Aiden looked like Shaq and AD was like Sharif O'Neal or something. Like he really just made him irrelevant. And there's no way the Lakers win without AD being relevant, without LeBron being in attack mode. And I think this series is gonna get juicier. I do. I don't think it's just gonna be like one of those real easy, like, oh, the Suns got this. It's gonna be like that. I think it's gonna be a good series. I still do. I believe that. They're the defending champs, right? And I think it's gonna be an interesting one to say the least. I'm just excited to see how all these teams that lost bounce back, right? How they retaliate. Speaking of teams that lost, the New York Knicks, man, they lost yesterday to a crowd of 15,000 people. This was the biggest crowd in the NBA since the pandemic started. Since it started, we haven't had fans. We finally got them, all that. But 15,000 fans went home upset due to a silencer. My man silenced the crowd completely. So what happened if you guys didn't watch that game? Y'all gotta watch the highlights because Trae Young put on an exhibition. I know a lot of people saying they don't like him at all. He always gets calls. He's always this. He's always that. But man could ball. If you guys didn't see that video, his dad like being like emotional in the MSG crowd. Man, I'm just gonna say it like this: MSG became a library. It really was. It got real quiet real fast. Trey hit the game winner, more or less. Game winner. And the real issue I thought for the Knicks, I thought it was a great game, back and forth. All like there was contribution from so many people. Alec Burks played out his mind. D Rose was turning back the clock. There was just greatness. I felt like Bogdanovich, man, for the Hawks was hitting shots. It just really came down to the Knicks. I felt like they didn't really have an offense going. It was just like a high pick and roll and then like let him do this or one on one with this guy over here. And that's really all it was. I felt like the Hawks were more, I'm not even gonna say they were more organized. It's just I felt like the Knicks just it was like here, take the ball and do something. And I don't think they're gonna win like that. They need to feed off the energy of the crowd because once they went on runs, the coaching staff from the Hawks were able to call timeouts and kind of slow them down. But those runs, you need to build off that crowd. If that crowd was getting going, it was pretty much, I'm not going to say over, but they were really going on runs like that. So they need to capitalize off that, especially before they go to Atlanta. I think like the Knicks can win in Atlanta. I think the Hawks can win in New York. This is a pretty balanced like series for sure. They both had the same record. I know when we were doing the previews and stuff, I kept saying like the Knicks look like a better team, right? Overall team. But if you can't stop Trey, you really not doing nothing. You know what I mean? And then the last game of the night, whoo, 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 this is playoff basketball. This is playoff basketball. Grit and grind. Grind house. Memphis basketball, man. If it's your first time watching basketball, you just gotta watch Memphis in action, man. They've been playing playoff basketball for a little while now. It's really been like 2 weeks. They've been in elimination mode for a while. They've had to force themselves to get a good seed to even contend. Then they had to beat the Spurs, which are well coached. Then they had to beat Steph Curry. They game plans really well for that team and were able to control and hold and literally do whatever they wanted. And then they come in here to play the number one seed where no one gave them a shot. But these guys are literal, like, I'm not, no disrespect, but they animals, man. Dylan Brooks had a monster game. Monster. I'm really falling for this kid, man. He's really got something like that heart. He's one of those players that you hate him if he's not on your team, but you love him if he's on your team. And that's what Memphis has always been about, right? They always had those guys. They always never cared about nobody else. They cared about themselves. They played collective. Ja Morant is a star. He's growing in front of our eyes. Like, don't blink, because you blink and he's already a superstar. I think he's all-star caliber player already. He's right there, man. We seen what he's doing. Timely shots, timely buckets. He's there when his team needs him most. Valanciunas doing his thing, like, completely. He really was able to do something to a two-time defensive player of the year, possibly 3 after this year, and Gobert and those Utah Jazz, I'm not going to say they in trouble. Donovan didn't play. They shot really, really bad. They had a really bad shooting performance, and they lost by 3. So the Memphis Grizzlies can't get too high, right? In all these series, we got to say the same thing. You can't get too high. You can't get too low. This is sports. It's best of 7 for a reason. Anyone could win one game. When you're talking about a best of 7, you got to stay composed. You can't get too happy. You can't get too excited. Donovan Mitchell didn't play, like I said, and he's playing game 2. It's already been announced. He was on a day today. They were going to keep checking him out. But no, he's ready. He said he's playing game 2. I think they heard all the noise. They heard everyone talking about how the Grizzlies going to beat them. And it's good that your guy, who's literally your best scoring option, he's the guy, he's the head of the snake, right? We always say that he's the point guard. The point guard is so, so important in basketball. He's going to probably try to slow down Ja or at least give a help to Mike Conley or whoever they put on them. Because Utah got size. Their 6 men of the year wasn't really doing much. Both of them, like they're both their candidates. And I feel like the series is going to be not as easy or as I don't know. I felt like a lot of people maybe overreacted yesterday over the Grizzlies win, even though I'm cheering for them. I always take the underdogs over anybody. I always love underdog stories, Cinderella stories, whether it's March Madness, whether it's even the World Cup, right? No matter what it is. And I think we all do that David versus Goliath atmosphere, but don't count Utah out. I saw a lot of disrespect. And it's really, really fun, really interesting. So I actually don't remember all the games going on tonight. So let me actually look at that. I try my best not to look at anything. Like I'm just here, like I said, as a fan. And tonight we only have 2 games, right? Nice, easy Monday night. We got the Bucks Heat. Let's see how the Heat respond again. If the Bucks figure it out, if Giannis, like he's been in the gym, if he's good, because his arm looked kind of hurt at one point. Hopefully he's good. And then we got to see what Denver does with the Trailblazers, how they going to bounce back. So that's exciting. We got Tuesday. Tuesday is an interesting day. If you guys didn't see, we got the Nets and Celtics first on TNT, right? They play first game. And then the second game is the Suns Lakers at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock Eastern. You got Suns Lakers. And then at 10:30, they got the Clippers Mavs on. So that's really interesting. That 30 minutes apart. I understand it, right? It's a weekday. You gotta get games in, but like those are two faces of the league more or less, right? Luka's got a big fan base. You got the Clippers now, kind of big thing going on with Kawhi and PG. You got the Lakers and the Suns, and they got them at the same time. Like, thankfully, the fourth quarters don't overlap, but still, you can't watch fully this game and fully that game type thing. But regardless, I hope you guys are excited. We're gonna do this every time, like the game 1 finishes, the game 2 finishes. I think we'll keep it like that. So we got a couple of days before the next episode. So if there's anything you guys want to hear or see or anything like that, please let me know. Hopefully the setup, I'll fix it. I'm just sorry, like I said, everything's moving and all that. I really do appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for always listening to me no matter what. Y'all the best in the business. It's been your boy Mosballin. Let me know if I said anything wrong. Let me know which series you're most excited about. Stay safe and thank you for doing the most. Hey buddy. Hey buddy. How you doing? What's up, buddy? Why you look like that? Huh? What's good with you? You good? You chilling? Mm-hmm.